Hello dear students, my name is Vikram Nalure. I am an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. I am working at SITCV, Yadra, Ichilkarji. In today's lecture, we will discuss about the unit number 2 in which we will cover the suspension system. So we will start with the content. So first of all, we will discuss objective, then introduction of suspension system, then the functions and the requirements of the suspension system, and in this lecture we will discuss about the suspension loads, characteristics and the moments. So let's start with the objectives. So objectives of today's lecture, that is to study and understand the suspension system, its functions and need. Second objective of today's lecture is to study suspension loads, characteristics of the suspension system and the moments. So let's start with the introductory part of suspension system. Generally the road surface dishes up rugged conditions, it's uneven conditions, and the suspension system transforms the bumps and dips into the smoothness. So as mentioned here, when the vehicle moves on uneven or zigzag surface, suspension system of the vehicle transforms that uneven part, bumps and dips, into the smoothness, so that the driver or the occupants inside the vehicle does not feel that amount of vibrations which is caused due to the interaction of the moment of vehicle and the uneven or zigzag road. So the suspension system generally refers to the assembly of different parts and the linkages that connects a vehicle to its wheel, and main important thing is isolate the vehicle body from the road shocks in the form of bounce, pitch and roll. So we will discuss about bounce, pitch and roll in coming slides. The suspension system functions to absorb the energy of vertically accelerated vehicle, allowing the frame and body to ride undisturbed, while the wheels follow bumps on the road. So in short, suspension system is that system which means the driver or occupant does not feel any kind of uneven surface of the road, so the intensity of the vibrations is reduced or completely minimized. So here the basic idea about the suspension system is shown in this diagram as well. So I will tell the names of the units of the system, then we will discuss various elements. So like this is the road surface, here this is the mass m1, that is unsprung mass, and this is the mass m2, that is sprung mass. So that sprung and unsprung masses, these are having dampers as well as the spring system. So there are two types of spring system, one is S1 in connection with mass m1 and road surface, and second is S2 in connection with the mass m1 and mass m2. So in this this diagram shows the block diagram of an automobile. The different elements comprising the suspension system, these are as like this is the spring S1 that represent the tire which are in direct contact with the road surface as it is shown here. So it represents the tires and other basic connected elements with tires which are in direct contact with the road surface, generally tires. So second is the block M1, that is unsprung mass. So it represents the unsprung mass of the wheel and axle assembly. Then spring S2, that is in connection with the M1 and the M2. This spring system S2 denotes the suspension spring system. Then block M2, this is the sprung mass. So it represents that above the suspension spring represents the sprung mass contributed by automobile body. Then shock absorbers and dampers, which provide the damping effect to spring oscillation caused by energy and road shocks. Stabilizer and linkage systems are also the components of the suspension system. So we will discuss some of the main functions of suspension system. The main functions of suspension systems are as first one is isolate the vehicle body from road irregularities, in which the main objectives are to prevent or reduce the road shocks from being transmitted to the vehicle chassis and the body. So this is very important point, that if the vehicle basic parts are absorbing the road shocks, but they are not letting it to transfer up to the vehicle chassis and body, then it is to safeguard the vehicle load, like passengers and goods kept inside, from road shocks and ensure the comfort of the passenger. That is the main important factor, that is comfort of passengers. Then second is that function is to improve mobility. So it is to provide clearance between the road and bottom of the vehicle. So it is the clearance distance between the or the height of the gap between the vehicle chassis as well as the road surface. Then it is to resist chassis roll, and it provides lateral and longitudinal mobility. It provides steering stability to vehicle in pitching and rolling while in motion. We'll discuss pitching and rolling and in the following in the next slide. Vehicle control, the main function, that is to provide continuous road wheel contact, which is necessary for good road holding while driving, cornering and braking. So proper balancing should be there under the vehicle control. Then it is to maintain proper steer and camber angles relative to the road surface. Then it is to keep all the four tires in contact with the road surface while maneuvering. Now in the coming slides we will discuss about essential requirements of the suspension system. So what should happen, that it should be lesser in weight. Then main important requirement, that low initial operational and maintenance cost. Then there should be very less deflection, consistent with the required stability. There should be ease of inspection, and there should be a proper alignment and overall reliability. Then next requirement, there should be minimum wheel hop and tire wear. And next is the compatibility with the vehicle components such as wheel and tire, frame, steering, linkages. So generally the chassis suspension must be capable of accommodating itself to these variables, and at the same time ensure that the system provides driving safety and driving comfort along with the ride quality and ride stability. So in next slide we will discuss about some of the loads, characteristics and the moments. So here we will discuss first is the bounce, or that is also called the float. So the bounce is represented in this diagram. You just observe the dotted lines. Dotted lines means object moves up to this in such direction while on the road. So bounce or float is the vertical movement of the complete body of the vehicle. The wheel remains in vertical position but moves up and down. But in case of rolling, It is the moment. You see, the moment is in such manner. The moment of the vehicle body about longitudinal axis and is caused by centrifugal forces when cornering, when taking a turn. The center of gravity of the vehicle lies considerably above the ground level. When the vehicle is made to take a turn, the road resistance acts inward at the wheels, while the centrifugal forces act outward at the center of gravity of the vehicle. These forces result into a couple which turns the vehicle about longitudinal axis. So next is the pitch. So the pitching is mentioned here in this diagram. You observe the movement of the car. Pitching is the rocking chair or rotating movement of the vehicle about the transverse axis. When brakes are applied, there is weight transfer from rear axle to front axle. So you observe when brakes are applied, so this moment of rear axle just goes to the front axle, that causes the nose of the vehicle to dip, to be lowered. This tendency of nose to dip depends upon the position of vehicle, center of gravity above the ground, wheelbase and suspension characteristics. Likewise, the torque loads developed during the acceleration lift the vehicle front and dip the rear. The forces caused by braking and acceleration are carried directly by deflecting the springs by wishbone arm or by radius rods. There are some factors which affect the pitching tendency. So first is the speed of the vehicle. Then second is the bumps over which the vehicle rolls. If the road are having uneven or zigzag surfaces, then that factor is affecting the pitching tendency. Then third is the spacing between the bumps, and fourth is the frequency of the bumps, means in how intensity the bumps are on the road surface. And fifth factor which affects the pitching tendency, that is mass moment of inertia of the vehicle about the axis of pitch and its wheelbase. The combination of rolling and pitching, the combination of rolling and pitching is often referred to as diagonal pitch. So this is all about the bounce, pitching and